So the plan was to cut up all my firewood for the next 3 nights and 3 mornings. I brought a chainsaw, tested it this morning, and I was gonna gracefully and easily cut up all the wood that I need because there's tons of dead juniper out here. But then of course the chainsaw doesn't start up. And I try and I try and I try and it will not start. So thankfully there was a lot of dead sagebrush. And so this is what I had to do. Yeah.
Alright, so I thought it'd be fun to make a video on what I typically do when I go camping. So yeah, this is a 3-day camp out. I'm on my own and I'm going to be taking photos and videos of all the things that I like to do. I hope that this video gives people some new ideas and kind of a different view on camping and what it can be. It's just kind of what I like to do, and so I'm not trying to, just trying to share that, and hopefully it's helpful for people. But yeah, right now I've just been doing some hikes, as you can see in this footage. So that's like a great way to spend one day. I do a lot of off-trail hiking. Obviously, if you're following good wilderness etiquette, there's nothing wrong with going off trail, and a lot of the times it's not very difficult. It's really exciting, and you never know what you're gonna find. A lot of the time you find a lot of treasures. So that's always fun. I have hundreds of little secret spots. Here I am collecting some fluffy material for a friction fire bird nest that I will be working on later, but I don't know what this vine is. I just found it. Okay, and then here I am just making a sage wrap, sage bundle. I'm not really sure what you actually call these, but it's like just, you know, some incense. Yeah, sage is fantastic, and this here bundle has actually been sitting up on my windshield for the last month drying, and every time I turn on my windshield heater, it just blows amazing sage smell through my car, so that's wonderful. And then I'll be using that to kind of ground myself for future camping trips. So, you know, little crafts like that are a good way to pass the time. I also read my books quite a bit, everything from geology to wildlife tracking to some cowboy stories or some history. Right there it looks like I'm reading my history on Brazil. These days I journal about things that I've observed in nature, things that I've discovered in the natural world, and then just self-reflection. And then at dawn and dusk, I will do a lot of wildlife watching with my tripod and binoculars, and it's a really nice, peaceful way to spend the evenings and mornings, and you see a lot of cool stuff. Okay, and for this day, I just felt like doing some woodworking projects, so here I am cutting up juniper to make a mug. Just kind of came up with the idea on the spot and had a really nice piece of wood to do it, and so I'm just going to go ahead and make it.
slowly but surely. Cut.
And there we have it. Quality outdoor footage. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of where I'm at with my time outdoors. I used to spend most of my time hiking and trying to see as much scenery in an area, but I always felt this lack of belonging. I was just kind of a visitor to these areas and just didn't really belong to them and didn't know much about them and didn't feel a part of them. So I've been working really hard this last year to learn so much more about the wild, to learn the names of the plants, the uses of the plants, wild edibles, medicines, drawing the plants, identifying them by sketching them and writing down all the different details.
My hands are very dry and cracked right now.
Yeah, and but also spending a lot of time meditating and listening to the sounds and identifying the sounds. And for example, identifying birds before you see them, but identifying them based off of the sound that their wing beats make. So observing their flight pattern and the sound that it makes, and then knowing what species is about to appear. And then I've gotten back into hunting, which forces you to move very, very quietly and or sit for long periods of time, and to really key into your environment and really read the signs. Now, as a hunter, you need to know the behavior and the patterns of the animals you are pursuing in order to be successful. So I've had to do a lot of research on certain animals, and I've spent a lot of time in the field seeing these behaviors with my own eyes. And it takes a lot of patience and practice, which is really good. Learning patience and learning how to practice something is going to build a lot of good tools for you that are going to enable you to learn other things. But basically, the goal is learning all these different fields of the wild, whether it's subsistence and or just pleasure and knowing how the ecosystems work and what's going on and identifying all these different parts to the puzzle. The goal is reciprocity and building a symbiotic relationship with the environment and feeling a part of it, right? So that's what I hope all this knowledge and all these different skills I'm practicing are going to lead up to. They're going to allow me to go into an area and really connect with it and be a part of it and not feel like I am harming it and or taking what's not mine to be taken, and honestly just exploiting it for my own pleasure. All right, so that was a sagebrush fire. The spindle was green wood, and I took the foliage off of that branch and turned it into a sage wrap. That way I wasn't really wasting it. But yes, believe it or not, green sagebrush works excellent for friction fire, for both your spindle and your hearthboard. Do other green woods work? I don't know, I haven't tried them. Would be something interesting to try. But for sage, works fantastic. Dry sage also works really great. Although, at a certain point, it can be a little too rotted away and too flaky. So, yeah. Well, thanks for watching this video. Just kind of experimenting with videos right now. So this may or may not be interesting. If it was, that's awesome.